Elle est un peu tannante. Make this smaller. There we go. Oopsies. There. Elle est un peu tannante. She's a little bit annoying, stubborn. Mais je l'aime quand même. But I love her anyway. Je garde Charlotte souvent la fin de semaine. Je garde Charlotte. So I watch her or babysit her often, souvent, la fin de semaine, on the weekend. On the weekend. If you have des frères or des sœurs, how often do you garde them le weekend? Souvent, toujours, jamais, parfois or rarement. If you have des frères or des sœurs, if you have a brother or sister. Jamais, d'accord. Très bien, merci. D'accord, merci beaucoup. Très bien. Très bien, merci beaucoup. We're going to scroll down here to numéro 4. Numéro 4. Chez nous, at our house, chez is a word that we use to mean at someone's house. D'accord? So if I said, if I were to say chez moi, that would mean at my house. Chez toi would be at your house. If I said chez Kevin, that would be at Kevin's house, okay? Chez Toya would be at Toya's house. So chez is the word we use to say at someone's house. So chez nous, at our house, tout le monde a des responsabilités. Everyone has responsibilities. 3 fois par semaine, 3 times a week, 3 fois par semaine, je fais la vaisselle. What she's doing, okay? Washing the dishes. Je fais la vaisselle is to wash the dishes. How often do you fais la vaisselle? Souvent, toujours, jamais, parfois ou rarement. Très bien. Très bien. Merci beaucoup. That's good. How many of you have des responsabilités à la maison? You have chores to do at home, des responsabilités. Many of you have des responsabilités à la maison? Très bien, très bien. We're going to look at some activités that might be some of your responsabilités that you have à la maison, at home. Numéro 5. Numéro 5. J'aide avec les tâches ménagères le samedi matin. So I help, j'aide, with, avec, les tâches ménagères, household chores or tasks. When? Le samedi matin. What day of the week is samedi again? C'est quel jour samedi? Très bien, Saturday, très bien. Samedi matin means Saturday morning. Samedi matin. Je me lève tôt. I wake up early. Je me lève tôt. Et je finis avant 10 heures. And I'm done by 10 o'clock. Le reste de la journée, c'est le fun. So he wakes up early. Je me lève tôt. And then he finishes all his chores by 10. And the rest of the day, le reste de la journée, he can do whatever he wants and he can have fun. Finally, numéro 6. Numéro 6 down here. Qui veut faire du ski? Who wants to go skiing? Moi, je suis prêt. Me, I'm ready. Let's go. Je suis prêt. Let's go. How often do you faire du ski? Souvent, toujours, jamais, parfois or rarement. And we're assuming in the winter, en hiver. En hiver, in the winter. How often do you faire du ski? D'accord. D'accord. Jamais, jamais for most people. Très bien. D'accord. Bravo. Merci beaucoup. Right now, we're going to look at several other tasks and activities. D'accord? For example, j'aide avec les tâches ménagères. Does anybody remember what that means? J'aide avec les tâches ménagères. I help with what? What are les tâches ménagères again?
Household chores.
Très bien, household chores. So I help out with household chores. Je fais des recherches en ligne. Almost like in English. Je fais des recherches en ligne. What do I do? You can write moi if you would like to answer in the chat in case two people want to answer at the same time. Oui, keen.
Is it I want to buy online or I buy online?
Close, very close. You're doing something
I
online, yes.
search online.
Oui, très bien. So you look for stuff, you do searches online. Très bien. J'envoie un texto. Y'all do that a lot. This is something you do a lot. Yes, send a text. Un texto is a text, okay? Envoyer un texto is to send a text. Très bien. So j'envoie un texto. How often do you do that? Souvent, toujours, jamais, parfois, rarement. Oui, I'm assuming most people are going to say toujours or souvent. Oui, très bien. Bravo. How about je lis des livres? What's je lis des livres? Write moi in the chat if you'd like to answer. You beat me to it. Très bien. Oui, to read books. Okay, I read books. How often do you read a book? Souvent, toujours, jamais, parfois, or rarement. It's one extreme or the other. Souvent or rarement. Très bien. Très bien. Unfortunately, I don't have time to read very much, but I buy books over the course of the year. And then the only time I have time to lire des livres is les congés de Noël, so Christmas holidays, le congé de mars, March break, sometimes, not always, et les congés d'été, summer holidays. So I've only got a very limited window of time to do some reading if I can, mais j'adore lire des livres. Je joue d'un instrument de musique. Très bien. I play a musical instrument. Qui joue un instrument de musique? How many of you joue d'un instrument de musique? There's a few people who play a musical instrument. Très bien. Très bien. Bravo. Bravo. Next one. Je prépare un repas. I prepare a meal. Un repas is a meal. How often do you prépare un repas? Souvent, toujours, parfois, jamais, rarement. Très bien. Excusez-moi, I'm going to turn off this heater because it makes a lot of noise. Désolé. Sorry. Désolé. D'accord. What do you usually prepare as this meal? Qu'est-ce que vous préparez? Qu'est-ce que vous préparez? What is it that you prepare? Très bien, des œufs, d'accord. That's it. No one wants to share what they prepare. D'accord. We'll leave it at that. Je fais mes devoirs. You should all know this one. I do my homework. Très bien, Kevin. I do my homework. How often do you do your homework, people? I'm hoping souvent, at least, or toujours for everyone. S'il vous plaît. Okay? Très bien. Toujours or souvent is what we're looking for. Très bien. Merci beaucoup. Next one is nice and easy. J'écoute de la musique. J'écoute de la musique. Très bien. I listen to music. Moi, j'écoute de la musique toujours. Et vous? Très bien. I cannot get any work done without music. I never could. I tend to fall asleep. So I like listening to some music while I'm doing my work. J'écoute toujours de la musique. Et je fais du ski. Je fais du ski is how we say I ski. Okay, je fais du ski, I ski. It can also mean I go skiing. I go skiing. How often do you fais du ski? D'accord, merci beaucoup. Most people, jamais. Jamais. How many of you have tried fait du ski? Beaucoup de monde. Lots of. Okay. Merci beaucoup. Très bien. We're going to look at another batch. How about this one? Je dors le jour. Je dors le jour. So I sleep during the day. Oui, très bien. I sleep during the day. How often do you do that? Toujours, souvent, rarement, jamais, parfois. Très bien. Très bien. Hopefully not at school. N'est-ce pas? Très bien. Having a nap, right? When you sleep during the day. En français, c'est faire une sieste. Faire une sieste. D'accord? Faire une sieste is to have a nap. Je parle au téléphone. Je parle au téléphone. Nice, easy. Très bien. I talk on the phone. Talk on the phone. How often? Toujours, souvent, jamais, rarement. Toujours for most of you. Rarement. Très bien. So this is another one. It's either toujours or rarement. Bravo. Très bien, merci. Et je regarde la télé. Je regarde très bien. I watch TV. How often does that happen? And TV, this can include Netflix, right? This can include Netflix and stuff. D'accord. Some people toujours, parfois, souvent. Très bien. Je fais de la natation. La natation. If you can see me. Oui, swimming. So I swim or I go swimming. How often do you go swimming? Toujours, souvent, fois, rarement. The life before COVID, right? Life used to be very different. Exactement. D'accord. Most people, rarement. D'accord. Merci beaucoup. Je fais de la planche à roulettes. La planche à roulettes is a skateboard. So, je fais de la planche à roulettes. I skateboard. How often do you skateboard? Moi, jamais. Jamais. Because if I get on a skateboard, I will break something. And it's not the board. It'll be me. D'accord. Beaucoup de monde. It's one or the other. Toujours or jamais. Très bien. Très bien. Here's another one that maybe most of you, many of you do. Toujours or très souvent. Je joue aux jeux vidéo. I play video games. Exactement. How often? Toujours, rarement, souvent. D'accord. D'accord. Moi, je ne joue jamais aux jeux vidéo. Je ne joue, je ne joue jamais aux jeux vidéo. I never play video games. Not my thing. Je ne joue pas. Whoops, it's je ne, not je me. Je ne joue jamais aux jeux vidéo. Très bien. Je garde des enfants. Je garde des enfants. Does anybody remember what je garde means? Oui, très bien. I babysit children. How often do you babysit children? It could be your petit frère or petite sœur, or it could be les cousins, les voisins, neighbors, par exemple. Some people toujours, some people jamais. Souvent, rien. Merci beaucoup. Merci. And je dessine. Je dessine. I draw. Très bien. Très bien. How many of you do any drawing, par exemple? Or how often might you do? Souvent, toujours, rarement. Doodling doesn't count. Très bien. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup. Bravo. Bravo. Merci. And the last one, je joue au basketball. Nice and easy? Oui, très bien. I play basketball. How often? Rarement, parfois, toujours, souvent. Lots of people like basketball. Vous jouez au basketball. Très bien. Très bien. Bravo. Bravo. D'accord. Très bien. So what we're um, looking at here, d'accord, is how to talk about things that we do every day, d'accord, things we do every day. And I'm going to ask you, I'm going to post those 5 words to say how often we do things, okay? And you're going to write for me, you're going to write me a few sentences saying what it is that you do and how often you do it, if you do them, or it can be something that you do never, okay? When we want to say never, and this is in a note for you as well that I'm going to post on Google Classroom, okay? You, for example, if I wanted to say, I never play basketball, okay? I would say, je ne joue jamais au basketball. Basketball. In French, we can also just say le basket for basketball, d'accord? Le basket. So, je ne joue jamais au basketball. Or, je ne fais jamais du ski. I never ski, d'accord? For the other ones, you can just put them at the end of the sentence, okay? Je fais du ski souvent. So I often go skiing. Or je prépare un repas. I prepare a meal. Parfois, sometimes. D'accord? You can just do it like that. So that's one thing you're going to be doing for me aujourd'hui. D'accord? And I'm going to share this. Actually, donnez-moi un instant. Go back here. What are some other things? What are some other things that you like to do or that you do often? S'il vous plaît. What are some things you do often? Okay, I'm not sure. By the way, they changed up this business of the textbook. It didn't look like this before. It looked a little bit different. So I'm not sure what your welcome page is going to look like, okay? But you're going to click on the picture of the point de connexion book, okay? What are some other things that you do daily? Est-ce que vous prenez des selfies? Je prends des selfies, par exemple. That's one of our words here. Je prends des selfies. How many of you take selfies? Souvent, or parfois. Oui, beaucoup de monde. Rarement, d'accord? Très bien. Find lots of people take selfies. If we read here, en France, on dit selfie. So in France, they just call it un selfie. Mais au Québec, in Quebec, sometimes it's called an ego portrait or une autophoto. But more and more, many people also just say selfie, d'accord? So the English word has caught on for selfie. So when you look in your textbooks, your front page is not going to look like this. Oh la la. Let's see if I can get this back. Nope. Why are you doing this? Désolé. This is completely different from what it was before. I'm going to try doing this again. Of course. I don't know why they changed it. So when you see this page, I don't know if yours is going to look like this. You're just going to click on Point de Connexion, your textbook. You might see more than one, I'm not sure. There we go. And there we have our menu, okay? We have our menu, and this is what we're starting off with, c'est moi. If you scroll down, you also have une carte du monde, which is a world map that you can see, okay? And it has all the different French-speaking places. Then there's also pour communiquer. Pour communiquer is going to give us a whole bunch of tips and things that you can use to help you communicate, okay? So right now, the very first thing we did was pour parler de mes activités et mes routines. So the activities you do and the routines that you have, your daily routine. The password I'm going to send you, it's just student one, okay? I'm going to send you the information and then you can try logging in afterwards and let me know if you have any difficulties, d'accord? So, j'aide avec des tâches ménagères, j'écoute de la musique, je fais du ski. Who remembers what's je fais la vaisselle? Je fais la vaisselle. You can write that down in the chat. Who remembers that? Oui, the dishes. Très bien, to do the dishes. Je garde ma petite sœur. Je garde ma petite sœur. Nope. Garder, to babysit. Ma petite sœur. Oui, babysit my little sister. Ma petite sœur. My little sister. Très bien. Je joue au volleyball, easy. Je prends mon déjeuner à 7h30. So I have, what would you be eating at 7h30, 7:30 in the morning? Usually. Good morning. Oui, breakfast. D'accord? À 7h30. Now there's a difference between breakfast, lunch, and dinner depending on which countries you are in. Okay? In Canada, La Suisse, which is Switzerland, and La Belgique in Belgium, okay? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner are le déjeuner for breakfast, le déjeuner, whoopsies, looking for my, le déjeuner, lunch is le dîner, and dinner is le souper. However, Everywhere else in the French-speaking world, okay? Everywhere else, breakfast is le petit déjeuner, lunch is le déjeuner, and dinner is le dîner. Okay, if you notice, le dîner and souper are where we get dinner and supper from in English. All right. So in Canada, Switzerland, and Belgium, le déjeuner, le dîner, et le souper. But everywhere else in the French-speaking world, breakfast, le petit déjeuner, lunch, le déjeuner, and dinner, le dîner. And this is how we write time in French, okay? With a 7 and then the H for hours, okay? 7 heures, and then the minutes come after, 30. It's also very common to use military time, okay? For example, je me couche à 22 heures. So I go to bed at, what time do you think 22 heures is? What time is that? 22 heures at 10 o'clock. Très bien, okay? 22 heures is 10 o'clock. And je me lève à 7 heures. I get up at 7 o'clock, okay? Je prépare le souper. Je prépare le souper. What am I preparing? Or what do I prepare? Dinner. Très bien. Le souper. Je regarde des films. Nice and easy. I watch movies. Très bien. And je regarde des émissions à la télé. I watch shows on TV. Exactement. And we also did this one, numéro 3, pour parler de la fréquence d'une action. Okay? For example, j'écoute de la musique. Quelquefois is another way to say sometimes. Quelquefois. Rarement, rarely. Souvent, often. Toujours, always. Tout le temps is another way to say always. 2 fois par semaine, very specific, twice a week, or 2 times a week, 2 fois par semaine. Or, and I have a hard time understanding this, je n'écoute jamais de musique. I never listen to music. D'accord? If you like music as much as I do, and I know that not everybody likes music, that's obvious, but for me, if I couldn't hear music, I don't know what I'd do. I'd fall asleep while trying to get my work done. Oh la la. But not everybody likes music. I don't like music that I don't like listening to. That's good too. So that's very, very important. D'accord? So you're going to be looking at how to say these things and how to write them about our daily routines. Ça va? And this right here, what's different between all of the other sentences and these two? Do you notice something that's different between all of these and these two sentences? Je me lève à 7 heures and je me couche à 22 heures. Anything different that you notice there? Exactly. The je me. Très bien. The je me. We use the je me. These are called, whoopsies, these are called reflexive verbs, and we're going to learn all about them, okay? There are some verbs that we use when we're talking about our daily routine, things that we only do to ourselves, okay? And when someone is doing those actions to themselves, we use the je me and other things, okay? For example, and I'm going to go to a doc here. For example, going to write here, okay? Reflexive verbs are verbs that someone does to themselves, okay? For example, if I wash my car, that is not reflexive. I wouldn't use je me. If I was brushing my dog's fur, that is not reflexive, okay? But if I'm washing myself, that's reflexive. If I'm brushing my own hair, that's reflexive, Okay? If someone else is brushing their own teeth, not my teeth, they're brushing their own teeth, that's reflexive. Does that make sense? Okay? So those are the cases where we would use the je, me. All right. So those are verbs that someone does to themselves. For example, that je, me is going to change depending on who's doing the talking. Okay. If it's two that's doing the talking, then it's not going to be je me, it's going to be tu, te, if you're talking to someone. If we're using il or elle because we're talking about him or her, it's going to be se. If we're talking about ourselves, if we are all doing the same thing to ourselves, let's say for some bizarro reason that we are all brushing our hair at the same time, not each other's hair, we are all brushing our own hair, then we would say nous. We are doing it to ourselves, nous. If you're speaking to one person who's a stranger, or if you're speaking to more than one person, then it would be vous. So you are doing this to yourselves, okay? And if it's they that we're talking about, they are washing their faces, they are getting dressed. It's il or elle, depending who it is, and it becomes se again before our verb. Does that make sense? Okay. What are some of these verbs? For example, to brush your teeth is se brosser les dents. All right. So if I wanted to say I am brushing my teeth, or I brush my teeth, just me myself doing it to myself, I would say je me brosse les dents. Most of the verbs that are reflexive are regular and ER verbs. So if you know your ER verbs, you know that the ending for ER verbs with je is E. So je me brosse les dents. I brush my teeth, or I am brushing my teeth. If I wanted to say I am washing my face, I'm washing my face would be um, rather to wash your face. Whoops, to wash your face is se laver, to wash le visage, to wash your face. And again, you have to be doing it to yourself. So if she is washing her face, I wanted to say, then I would say elle se lave, because ER verbs, right? ER verbs with elle is an E ending. Elle se lave le visage. Okay. If I wanted to say, for example, the verb to get dressed. Okay. To get dressed is s'habiller. To get dressed. S'habiller. And s'habiller starts with an H, and H's in French are always silent. D'accord? They're always silent. So we got rid of the E of se, and we put an apostrophe itself, because we can't say se and then habiller without there being a chop in there. And French has to be smooth. So we can't say se habiller. It just doesn't sound right. So what does that mean? It means that when we look at the je me or the tu te or the il se, etc., we're always going to get rid of the E on me and just put M apostrophe. We're going to get rid of the E on tu te and just put T apostrophe. So if I wanted to say they are getting dressed, okay? Where are your brothers or where are your sisters? They're getting dressed. We would say ils, S apostrophe, a, B, and who remembers the ending for ER verbs with Il with the plural. Yes, exactly, keen. Good. Yes. The verb, how to say je t'aime, I love you. Yes, je t'aime, that is also reflexive. Um, Actually, no, it's not reflexive because you are not saying that I love myself. You're saying I love you. I'll teach you that stuff another day. But it uses the same kind of the pronouns. Yes. Okay, but it's not reflexive. No, it's not ONS. Not ONS. What's the ending for ER verbs with ila? Who remembers? Who wants to write that down in the chat for me? Anybody remember? Oui, ENT. Très bien. ENT. So it would be il s'habille. And I got rid of the E on the S, okay? And I put an S apostrophe. All right? Does that make sense? Using this je, me, tu, te, and all that stuff. Does that make sense? D'accord? Um, so we're going to learn all the verbs that you can use to talk about your daily routine, okay? What you do from when you get up until you go to bed. And I'm going to give you all those verbs, and most of them are regular ER verbs, which makes it very easy if you know your ER verbs, d'accord? Um, there's a couple of them that have a little bit of a change because of what they are. The verb se lever, which means to wake up, to wake up, okay? If we look at se lever, there's no accent on it, okay? And if you hear it, se lever, all right? Now, when I change it to I wake up, I wake up. Let's say I wanted to write I wake up at 5:15, which unfortunately I do, and it is very painful. I would say in French. In English, I would write 5:15 like this. Okay. By the way, there is no AM and PM in French. Okay. We don't write AM and PM when we're writing the time. If you specifically want to make sure that someone knows it's in the morning, it's very easy because you can just use, or in the afternoon, evening, you just use military time. All right, you just use the 24-hour clock, and it's very, very easy to know if it's AM or PM. Or you can use things like in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, d'accord? So if I wanted to say I wake up at 5:15, I would write je me. Now, listen to how different this sounds. Se lever and je me lève, okay? I have to put something that makes an eh sound. Je me lève. So what do? I need to use an e with an accent grave, okay? So je me lève. Je me lève. Now it says I wake up at à, and then I'll write my time en français, 5h, oops, 15. And I can say in the morning, le matin. And I wouldn't have to because most people wake up in the morning. Of course, if you have a job where you work shifts, this would not apply, okay? But someone would know if you were saying. So you can say je me lève à 5h15, or you can say je me lève à 5h15 le matin, for example. So when you have that change, we need to use that accent there, d'accord? So here's what I'd like you to do today. What you're going to do is you are going to choose, and once our class is over, I'm going to post all that vocabulary for you so that you can use it, or you can look up some new stuff that wasn't on those pages that we used just now, okay? And you're going to write your, whoops, this is going out to someone privately. You're going to write 5 sentences, okay, about things you do or don't do, and write how often you do them, all right? Don't worry so much about the reflexive verbs just now, because we need to practice that a little bit more. So 5 things that you do or don't do and how often. So if you want to say I never do something or if I do something often, d'accord? Um, so I'm going to post that there, and that's going to be for our next class, s'il vous plaît, d'accord? And so, one more time, s'il vous plaît. You can say to say goodbye, you can say au revoir. You can say à demain, see you tomorrow. You can say à la prochaine or à la prochaine fois, see you next time. D'accord? So 3 things that I would like you to choose from to say goodbye. If you have any questions, you can always stay behind, d'accord? And ask me if you have any questions. Otherwise, please choose one of those. So au revoir, goodbye. À demain, see you tomorrow. Or à la prochaine fois, see you next time. D'accord? Au revoir, à demain, or à la prochaine fois. And I'm going to call on you. D'accord? Oui, au revoir. So Gershan, s'il vous plaît.
Au revoir.
Très bien, au revoir. Laura?
Au revoir.
Au revoir, merci. Kevin?
Au revoir.
Au revoir, merci. Hadia?
Au revoir.
Au revoir, merci. Tremaine?
Au revoir.
Au revoir, merci beaucoup. Archie?
Au revoir.
Merci, au revoir. Anton? Anton left early. Quan? Quan, I can't hear you, my dear. Okay. Sandeep? Au revoir, merci. Peter?
Au revoir.
Au revoir, merci beaucoup. Kushi?
Au revoir. Take care.
Au revoir, merci beaucoup. Sebastian?